Yesterday I told you people, if at all you're supposed to take with row, I'll mention j plus 1, j plus 2. If I want to mention column, then deal with the I values. I plus 1, I plus 2, then you should be concerned with till where your row should go, until where your column should go. If you're concerned with it, your column condition will be completed. And next, look for the diagonal values. For diagonal value, what is the index position of it? Okay, look for the diagonal value, what is the index position of it, and try to print it. This diagonal value. So you're supposed to take three values and you're supposed to work with it. Come on, post it soon. Make it a bit faster. The same set of condition has to be repeated. And at the end, you're supposed to take the minimum value from this user. I guess you people could remember the question. You're going to accept only m value from the user. Okay. And you're supposed to take the consecutive value which is repeated minimum 3 times. So minimum 3 times, what are the values we have taken? 2 is repeated 4 times. Minimum 3 times they asked us. And same way, 3 is repeated 4 times here. And I can notice that 1 is repeated 4 times. And followed by 5 is repeated 4 times. Here, what are the conditions they told? It can be a row or a column or the diagonal value. At any places, the value might be repeated. So if finding here, this could be the values repeated. Among those, the minimum value is 1. So we have seen how to iterate rows. Then iterate column and diagonal. Guys, I even have given you hint there. Only this part you are supposed to write it twice. This particular, the complete for loop set. You're supposed to write it twice, then you're supposed to do the program. You people didn't try it yesterday? Don't you find time? If you have tried it today, we can start as early as possible. Make it faster. Which one you want to print it? Shamir, you want to print the matrix and see to it. Okay, we'll do this one. Okay. We can put a loop. You want to print this one. Okay, right. Just a minute. We'll paste this here. This is not required right now. Okay. So if you people want it, let me print this matrix. Okay, I'll execute it. Indent is there, right? We'll reduce the indent. So matrix form you're expecting submit is nothing but here notice here. So here how your data will be here. Just let him give me a second. Why did I give 2? 2 is number of rows. Okay. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can notice here. So this is of list which is 0th index and this is your first index, isn't it? And here once you're coming here you can notice that this is 0 comma 1, 0 comma 2, 0 comma sorry ma it should be 0 comma 0, 0 comma 0, 0 comma 1, 0 comma 2. So it will never store in the matrix format. These are array of array. Okay, even in your C programming also, your data will be stored only in a sequential manner. Only for our understanding, they are taking matrices of like this. But your data is not stored in this format. Your data will be stored only in a sequential format, in a continuous memory location. What about others? Have you did? Anyone? I couldn't see anyone has tried. No one has tried it. Why it is so? Even you people don't have regular classes also. Make it faster. Guys, those of if your friends is not yet joined, just inform them. Today we are going to start with OOPS concept. In OOPS concept, according to MCQs, according to InfyTQ, you will never get programs. Maximum you will never get programming questions, coding question. You will be getting all your MCQ questions from class and object. Is it clear? While you're facing your InfyTQ exams, your coding question you'll be getting with all those topics, fundamentals. And when you're going with your MCQ part, majority of your MCQ questions will be from your OOPS concept only. Among, if it is 15, 8 questions from your OOPS concept. So just inform your friends, those who are not yet joined, we are going to start this OOPS concept after this, the morning session. So if they didn't attend one session, they will not be clear with the forthcoming session. So if until unless there doesn't know class and object. Okay, who has written? Maurya. Okay, Maurya. Yeah, this is fine, Maurya. This condition is fine. Uh, Arsha, I'm not giving assurance that this will never come in class and object. Maximum so far whatever the batches are attended, they are attended from they ask question only from the fundamentals. Okay, they may ask, but so far they didn't ask it. And you can notice that the class this OOPS concept is a part where they included in MCQs. Okay, if you want to solve MCQs, then without OOPS concept, it is not possible, and that is the easy area of scoring for you people. Okay, just a minute, give me a second. Maurya, look at your condition, the range condition. If I loop executes 6 times, what will happen? Take this matrix and check to it. If I loop you're given this 7 times. The I loop is given at the range of 7. Okay, then what happens here? It will go index out of range. And one more important key note they are given that the combination should be of only make combination with, okay, 4 integers. So it is here you're supposed to consider with one important part, you're supposed to have should not go with index out of range, should not be there. So think about it. Right now you're dealing with only with this problem statement. Here itself, if you can't if people can't solve the MCQs, then look at this OOPS concept, where the problem statement will be given. You're supposed to see the solution, or you're supposed to find the what you're supposed to pass value for it. Make it bit faster. Guys, are the people trying, or shall I do it here? Come on, respond me. For a long time, I didn't receive any response. Only 1 or 2 is responding for the program. Shall we discuss else? Yes, right, we can discuss here. Okay, listen. So I written condition for your row. Guys, are you trying, or shall we start discussing? Okay. So we are seeing condition for your row, right? So now I'm going to write condition for our column. The same set of iteration. Okay. But few changes I'm going to do it. Here, I'm not going to make my row execute till n. I'll go execute till row minus 2. So what happened? What is your row value? We have seen our row value is given as 6 and your column value is taken as 7, which is 1 plus row. So look at here. So I'll be going till 6 minus 2, that is nothing but 0 to 4. 0 to 4 in the sense literally, which is nothing but 6 minus 2 is 4. So this will be going till 0 to 3. Okay, the same way here I'll be going till your column value, which is nothing but I'll go till 7. Your column is 7, so it will be 0 to 6. So here what I told you is you're supposed to concern with column, right? So I'll mention this one. Your I will remain same. Just a minute. Your I will be increasing and your j remains same. So previously your I remains same and j will be increasing, right? Now your I will be increasing and your j remains same. So what happens here? So here if at all your row is 0 and your column will have 0 comma 1. Just a minute. Here your row is 0 and your column will have for 0 for this one you will have a combination of 0 comma 1, then followed by 0 comma 2, 0, 3, isn't it? Where your j loop will be incremented. So coming at this part, you can notice at this part what I'm doing is I'm increasing my row alone. Okay, when your row value is 0, for 0th row, your column will have, okay, for a 0th row, okay, your column when it is 0, I'll have these combination. So I'll have 0, 0 and I'll have 1, 0 and 2, 0. So what happens here in a matrix, if it is a matrix with the first 1, 2, 3. So the first matrix will be at the position 0, 0. And the next element will be at the position 0, 1. And next element will be position 0, 2, isn't it? Let us have few more values here. 4, 5 and 6. So what could be the index position here? This is the first row, 1, 0. So let me drag it little up. 1, 0, 1, 1 and 1, 2. So this will be here. So for this you can notice that for the previous one, for the first condition whatever I mentioned here, for this condition, what is the condition? 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. So you are traversing in this way, isn't it? For this condition, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0. Here we are traversing in this diagonal. So in this column. Guys, is it clear? How is the condition I have written here? And next I'll take next three values. Next three values like this. Is this clear so far? So that is the reason I mentioned this diagonal. It will be easy for you to note it. So for the 0th iteration, this could be the combination. For this combination, you can notice that where how it is executed. For this, the entire row is taken 3 values. For this entire column is taken 3 values. Is it clear? Come on, respond me. We need to move on to next one. We are running out of time. Okay. So right now you people are clear with the row and column. For diagonal, what is the condition I should apply? For diagonal, what might be the condition, ma? Okay, good, Sudhir. Condition, you're good. Row -2 and column -2. Both the person has to go to -2. Fine. And what is the if condition you're supposed to apply? What is the diagonal value? What is the diagonal value? Look at this diagonal value. What is the index position we are having? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Got it? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Where I and j value should be equal, isn't it? This is the diagonal value. Now we'll write condition for this diagonal. For other part is done, we'll go ahead with the diagonal where I'll copy paste the same set of code here again. Yeah, good, Sudhir. Good. We'll copy paste this or else I'll make use of this. So now both the value has to be incremented. I has to be incremented by 1 and j has to be incremented. So what happened? Now I'll get 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. The recursive set of data will be there right now. And after this, what you're supposed to do? We are supposed to find the minimum value in your print here, minimum value in your result. So when you're doing like this, what happened? All the element which is equal, this data will be taken and be stored in a very list called result. And when I mention min of result, this data will be printed. Is this clear? Or if you are supposed to write only 3 separate loops, that's it. If at all you know how to iterate it, then your program is done. Now let us execute this and we'll give input. Let me paste this input at the bottom. We are supposed to give one by one line only. It is not possible to give as a whole. So let me paste it here. It will be easy for us to execute it. So input value is 6. This is what they are given. And the input is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4. And for the next row, 2, 3, 4, 7, 6. Okay, right. 7, just a minute. 4, 7, 6, 7, 6. And next one is 2, 3, 5. Just a minute, Samir. I'll come back to you. 5, 5, 5, 2. How many 5s are there? 4 5s are there, right? Okay. Followed by 2. And the next value is 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. The next value is 1, 1, 1, 1, 9, 0, 3. The next value is 2, 3, 1, 1, 5, 1, 2. Why is that index out of range here? Here, we forgot to modify row minus 2. Yes, Samir. What is that Samir you're asking for? For second column, what happened? Again, this value will be modified. Your row will become as, initially row will be 0 and row will become as 1. For the second column, this particular value keep on goes. So change your row value and check it. You get the combination of it. Okay. Sorry guys, you're supposed to execute again since this column minus 2 is not given. You're supposed to execute only till column minus 2. If you're not giving what happened, it will show you index out of range. Okay. So we'll execute again. 6 is your m value, followed by 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll try to copy paste line by line. It may save some time. Yeah, third row is done. The fourth row is done. Too long input. The last row. Now you can find the minimum value 1 is displayed as your output. So if at all you are displaying your result here, you can find this value. This particular result list will have the value 2, 3, 5, 1. These are the 3 consecutive value which is repeated. So among this, the minimum value is taken here. Is this clear for everyone? Come on, respond me. Yes, right. Okay, fine. I'll do one thing. We'll take a separate sheet. For day 7, we'll take a separate sheet. Okay. Since it is a previous one continuation, I made use of same sheet. Okay, guys, I guess you people are clear with it. We'll start Woodcoop's concept. Okay, few more programs are there. The previous year repeated programs is there. Whenever time finds, I'll give you meanwhile. What are the questions? Okay, these are the previous year's question. I'll give you those questions whenever time permits at the mid of the theoretical part. Now, we people are supposed to see with OOPS concept. So far, we have seen with Python programming only, where programming language will be classified into two types. One is procedure oriented programming. Okay, another is object oriented programming. These are the two classification of programming. I guess you people might have came across object oriented programming. Give me if at all you give me yes if at all you came across it. Have you came across this object oriented programming? No. Okay. Yes, in Java. Okay, Samir, in Java. Come on, give me response so that I can take you the session accordingly. Majority of people says no. Don't you have any curriculum, others, apart from mechanical? Even if you came across C++ or Java, for sure you might have came across this OOPS concept. In elective, okay, fine, fine. I could understood. Okay, let it be. We'll start. So, whenever you're speaking about programming language will be classified either as procedure oriented programming or object oriented programming. So, what is this procedure oriented programming? Writing a program only by using functions. So far, we have written this particular program by using functions, right? By using def keyword, we are defining a function, we are writing it. So that is called procedure oriented programming. Whenever I say a programming language is a purely procedure oriented programming, a program can be built only by using functions. For example, you can take C programming as a purely procedure oriented programming. There is no class and object in case of C programming. Okay, and next is will come across object oriented programming. I could see many people used to say OOPS. Oops, it is not OOPS, it is only OOP. OOP is nothing but object oriented programming. So whenever I say object oriented programming, the elements of a program depends upon the class and object of a program, where these two are a very base element. So when I say object oriented, we'll have two important element. One is class and other is object. These two elements are the base for object oriented programming. So if you want to write a program by using object oriented, then I'll be the base of it is class and object. So without this, I can't able to construct a program. Clear? So I told you this is the base. So before moving on to what is object oriented programming, we'll see some example. What are the programming language which is built by using object oriented programming? We can able to say Java is a purely object oriented programming, and .NET, all these programs are purely object oriented programming. Speaking about Python. So Python programming we have seen so far, the program Python programming, C programming, all those programming are called bilingual language. In case of bilingual, what does it mean is a program can be written either as a procedure oriented, which is nothing but only by using function I can able to write it, or by using class and object. Both the way is implementable. So object oriented as well as procedure oriented way of implementation is possible in case of C++ as well as Python. Okay. So far we have seen the program. So we doesn't came across the term called class and object. So which means that we are going to we written a program by using procedure oriented approach. So now we are going to see with object oriented approach. Whenever you're going to write a program by using object oriented approach, we'll be making use of two elements. This is mandatory in your program. That is one is class and other is object. So I told you these are base of object oriented programming. And apart from this, keeping this as a base, we has four pillars. Four pillars of object oriented programming. What are those? If at all you people might have came across it, what are the four pillars? What are the four pillars of object oriented programming? Yeah, first one is Okay, good. Good, Samir. Polymorphism, good. Then inheritance, good. Then okay, abstraction, good, Sai. Then encapsulation, that's it, good. So whenever I say four pillars of OOPS concept, those are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. These are the four pillars of OOPS concept. Okay, so keeping these two as a base, we are going to build this particular concepts. So you people know that for any programming language, OOPS concept never change. Whatever the programming language it may be, where we know that whenever say a programming language follows OOPS, we can name it as Java, .NET, Python, C++, PHP. All the language follows OOPS concept. Your concepts are same. Your concept is not going to vary. The only variation is the way of input output and the keyword is going to vary. Your concept of OOPS doesn't vary. So if you learn OOPS concept for one programming language, the same thing is going to be implemented for all the programming language. Only the way of implementation is going to vary. The concept never changes. Okay. Now we'll move on further. We'll see about each and everything. First, we'll see what is class. What is class? Those who people came across it, you can define it. Which one I'll be naming as a class? In simple term, okay, let me tell you guys. Okay, this is a theoretical part. Let me explain you. Not to spend much time on it, we can go out to programming. Okay, whenever I say class, I can name it as a class is a blueprint. Class is a blueprint. So what are the element I can give in a class? Look at it. So I told you class is a blueprint, or I can name it as a skeleton. For example, I can name car as my class, or I can give pen as my class, or I can give laptop as my class. Okay, so you can notice that I didn't mention any brand of car, I didn't mention any pen or any brand of pen or laptop. Whenever I say laptop, which has screen, keyboard, and if I give some input when it is giving response, those comes under laptop. Inside the family of laptop, this feature should be there, isn't it? It can be of i3 configuration, i5 configuration, or super fast computer, whatever it may be. So which has this skeleton, I'll be naming as a laptop. So a class is a blueprint. Okay, I can name this class is a blueprint. I didn't mention any brand of car. You can take any example. If I take car, I'm just mentioning the particular car. For car, what is the requirement? If it has four wheels and it has a skeleton of a car and it has driver seat and where others can sit along with them, which has two seats, front and seat and back seat, which has steering and gear, brake, all those things. If it has this structure, I'll be naming as a car. It doesn't mean that it is a nano car or shift or RD, whatever it is. Whatever follows this structure, I'll be naming as a car. So this is a simple example of class. Class is a blueprint. Okay. And next is, if at all you want to declare a class, this is all about the theoretical part of a class, guys. So it is a blueprint. If at all you want to declare a class, I'll be declaring like this: class followed by class name. This class name is a user defined name. As you give for variable, any name can be given for a class name, followed by colon, and inside this I'll be having attributes. I'll be having attributes here. In attributes, in the sense, we'll be naming as variables, right? So far we told as variables. These variables are known as attributes. And apart from this, we'll have methods. Methods, in the sense, we have seen about functions. These functions are called methods. These elements, attributes and methods are called class members of a class. So whenever I declare a class, who are the person can able to occur inside a class? It can be an attribute or it can be a method. I can't able to do any operation directly inside a class. If some variable is required, I can declare inside my class. If I want to do some manipulation like addition, subtraction, or whatever the calculation you want to do it, you're supposed to do only inside the method. Here method means function. We'll be writing function so far. I guess you people could remember. Def followed by function name. So this particular method is known as function. Normal term in case of procedure oriented approach will be naming as a function. Once you are coming for object oriented approach, you'll be naming it as a method. And same way variable I'll be naming here as a attribute. Okay, in case of oops, I'll be naming as a variable as attribute and function as a method. So when I say class members, only these two person can occur inside a class directly. If at all you feel that I want to do some manipulation, then do inside this method. It cannot be done directly inside a class. No code cannot be put directly inside a class. It has to be packed inside a method. So only thing you can declare inside a class is one is attribute and other is method. Okay, this is all about your class. Do you have any doubt in class? Shall I move on to object? Okay, I'll give some example, guys, before moving to it. So if you take some example, I can have class. Since I said any name can be given, let me give car as my class name. Right now, I'm not going to do anything, so let me give pass. I guess you people could remember what is pass all about, doing nothing. Right now, there is no element in my class, so let me mention pass. This is a simple example to show you the structure of my class. Don't think that here can we put print. That's not possible. This is what I told you. Directly I can put some print message inside a function but not inside a class. So inside a class only these two elements can be done. Are you clear with this class so far? Can I move on to object? Come on. Respond me soon. At least we can start with class and object by morning. Shamruddin, I didn't go inside. Just I'm seeing about the class alone. After completing class and object only, we can go get further. Okay. It's not possible, Harsha. This is what I'm keep on repeating. When you say class, you can't print directly. Only these two elements can be occurred. Variable and method can be done. That is not the structural part of your OOPS concept. Okay. And next is, we'll go ahead with the object. So when I say object, we say class is a blueprint, right? And object, when I say object, I can name it's a instance of a class. Instance of a class, or I'll be naming as a object is a part of a class. Instance of class or part of class. So what is this instance of class, part of this class? If I give some example, you'll be clear. For example, let us take my class name is laptop. So under laptop, we have different brand of laptop, isn't it? We have Dell is there, Acer is there, Mac is there, okay, Asus is there. Lot of brands are there, right? I didn't hear when I'm going with the specific features, then it is called object. It is a part of a class which belongs to this class family. Got it? When I say class, it is a general one. I didn't go ahead with any specific data here. When I say object, it's a part of a class. It belongs to a class. Okay, this is all about your object. I give an example. If you look at the example of it, it will be very clear, guys. Okay. Now we can go ahead with the syntax of it. This is a syntax. This is a syntax for class. The same way, let us go with the syntax of an object. If you want to create an object for a class, you should follow the syntax. That is nothing but object. This object name is a user defined name. I can give any name. Object name assign your class name of class name followed by the parenthesis. So for a class, You can create any number of objects. I told you that this is how you're supposed to create. For a laptop class, they are having different types of laptop, isn't it? Dell is there, Acer is there. We are having different types of is there, right? So what we can do is for a single class, I can have any number of objects. For one class, I can create multiple object. I can do accordingly. This is how to create a object. And keep in mind that for a single class, I can create multiple objects. So now let me give example for it. So what you have seen, this is the class car. If you want to create object for this class, so what is the object name can we give? Shall we give obj as the object name? Obj assign. What is the class name? Our class name is car, followed by the parenthesis. This is how to create object for a class. You can note this can be of any name, guys. Just for the naming convention, I have given this obj. Is it clear how to create a class and how to create an object for a class? Come on, respond me. I'll show you some program now. Okay, fine. You're clear now, right? Now I'll go ahead further. So we'll see one program by implementation of class and object. So just we are speaking about class and object, right? So let me declare one program here. Def followed by, sorry, class, right? So class, let us have our class name as sample. This is our class name. And now inside this, right now I'm going to not write, I'm not going to write anything. We'll go step by step. Let us assume obj is the object and this is a class name. Let us assume that we want to print some message. I want to print some message like all is well. I want to print this message. So we know that it is not possible for us to print directly. If I want to print it, what should I do? I should define a method. How will we define a method? We'll be defining a method by using def followed by the method name. So let me give the method name as some message you're going to do it, right? So let me give message and let me do a function should have a parenthesis. Now this is done. Print this message all is well. Now this message has been printed. Now if I execute this program, will it execute? No, it will never be. You will never get any output. The reason is what you are doing is you are creating object for a class, but you are not calling this function. Normally we know that if you are writing some function, if I mention like this, def message, if there is some function, if there is some function like this, if you want this message to be printed, you should call this message, isn't it? Okay, you should call this message. If at all you are not calling this message will never be printed. If I remove the statement, this particular message will never be printed. If I try to do this one, it will never be printed. The same thing happens here. If I execute this, what happened? It will be executed, but this message will never be called. If you want to call this method, I have two different approaches, guys. I'll let you know. So calling a method is done by using two different approaches. Calling method types. First type is calling the method by using class name. By using class name, you can call it. And second method is by using object, we are going to call it. The class name is a generic one where you are not going to mention specifically, but you are going to use object only. First, let me give you the example of class name. Then I'll show you people how to execute by using object. So listen here. If I want to call this message, what should I do it? I can call by using sample.msg. So if I call it like this, now what happened? The first step is object will be created for this class. Okay, so what happens during an object creation? Memory allocation happens for this class. So this is a dummy class. So once this statement is executed, memory will be allocated for this particular class until unless it will never be allocated. It is common for all the programming language. So memory will be allocated, and after this, once you call this sample.class, this message will be called, and whatever the statement inside this particular message will be displayed. This is how it is going to execute. And this is the first approach. But we'll never use this method always. We people or whatever the program they are giving, they'll be using only this particular object type. This is the important one. So we'll be executing the particular same program by using object. So what is the object of this particular class? What is the object of this particular class? What do we declare here? What is the object of sample ma? What is the object we are declared? Harsha, what happened? You want to explain again? Okay, object is message. Just a minute, Harsha, I'll complete here. So what is the object of this particular class? Object of this particular class is obj. So what I have told you is we can able to execute this particular class. One is by using this particular method can be executed. Your first approach is by using class name. Okay, this is by using class name. In second approach, what you're going to see is the same class is going to be executed by using the object of a class. Now, if I pass obj here, if I mention instead of class, if I mention obj dot message, let me try to execute it, look at it, what you are getting. You'll be getting a huge error message. That is nothing but message takes zero positional argument, but one was given. Read the statement. This is an important one. Message takes zero positional argument, but one was given. The reason behind is, so whenever I'm calling this particular function, I'm not passing anything here, right? So we know that if at all you're going to do some function, if at all you're doing some sum operation, for example, just a minute. Where is this? Okay, just a minute. If I'm going to MSG, let us assume that we are receiving two parameter here. Let us assume you're going to have the parameter value here. Okay, we are going to have parameter value, and if I'm calling the program like this, you can notice that what is the error message you're getting. The message requires one positional argument A. Okay, which means that one variable has been required, but you didn't pass it here. So if at all you're passing some value, then it will be working fine. Okay, or listen here, I'll show you the other approach. I'm passing 4 and I didn't receive it. Message takes zero positional argument, but one was not given. The same message you might have got here. Look at here. Message takes zero positional argument, but one was given. The same message. So what can we identify here is when the function is called, I'm passing some value in it, but I doesn't have any variable to be received here. Got it? It's a normal program, guys. There is a method, and this method I'm passing with a value, but I doesn't have any variable to receive it. As a common program, what should I do? I should have some x variable to receive it. No matter that you're going to use this x in a program, this function or not. But somehow I need some person to receive this data. This is a normal program. I didn't go for oops. This is a normal function. If I'm passing some value, I need some person to receive it. If at all does if I doesn't have any person to receive it, I'll throw this error message. Message takes zero positional argument, but one was given. Now look at here. So previously I passed value here, I didn't receive it, so I got this message. But why does it show here the same message? I'm not passing anything. But somehow it shows this message. One argument should be passed. One argument should be declared. The reason is, have you came across this keyword? If at all you came across in Java or C++ or .NET, you might have came across this keyword called this in other programming language. Have you came across this term called this? Yes or no? This keyword. No, okay, I'll tell you. This is for this, we'll be using this in order to mention a current calling object. Here, in case of Python, we are going to make use of one term called self. Here, self is a variable, I'm going to use it. Self is not a keyword. The reason I'm saying self is a variable is wherever, whatever the book you refer, they'll mention parameter variable called self. They'll never use some other variable. The reason is this self is a commonly used variable name. So here I'll be using self. Self is an object. It is an object which is used for storing the reference to the current calling object. Stores the, guys, that is bit clumsy part here. Listen carefully. It stores the reference to the current calling object. So I'll be using one terminology called self. The reason is what I told you, for a class I can have any number of objects, right? So right now I'm having a class name called sample. My created object is obj. Let us keep it as obj1. And I'm going to call this message by using obj1. Right now who will be passed, literally what is the meaning of it is, it is like passing message of obj. The internally how does it goes is, it will go like message of obj. Okay, you can notice that you're calling obj.message, but internally the function will be called in this format message of obj1, not obj1. So what does it mean? If I'm passing some value, I need some person to receive here, right? Without receiving, I'll show this error message. So I should declare some person here. The common terminology where everyone across the globe they are using is, they'll be using a variable name called self. Now if I execute this program, you'll be getting an answer. What does this self stores? This self stores this current running object. Right now, this particular class has an object name obj1. So which means that the obj, for this object obj1, this particular first parameter is required. So if let us assume you're having one or two variables here, I can pass the data here too. So in those cases, I can receive with some variable name called x, which is followed by it. So keep in mind that the first parameter should be always your object reference. Your object reference in the sense, literally it means that if you are calling this object, if you're calling this method by using object, you will be passing the first parameter as reference to the object. This is mandatory. Guys, is that clear? Why is this self? This is a reference to the current calling object. So literally if you pass like this, internally it is taken as message of obj1. The first parameter will be always your reference to the object, and after this you can stack any number of parameter for the variable what you're going to use it. Is this clear for you people, guys? What is the Samir? What happens if you call message alone? I couldn't get what you're asking. I better do one thing. Just have a practice of this question. It is so simple. Class is so simple, ma. I'll give you some other example if it is confusing. So let the class name be demo. Okay. A very simple. You can able to have some method called disp. Keep in mind that always whenever you're using method where you're going to invoke the method by using object of a class, in the sense the first parameter should be self. You can have some message hi. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to create object for this class. Okay, for this class, and you're supposed to invoke this particular methods of a class by using this object. So if you pass like this, if you call the method of a class like this, internally what does it mean? The particular function is called like this with OB. So this OB is a parameter which is passed as your display. This is the first parameter which is passed internally. So this should be received by the variable name. I mean, what is that? Just a minute, ma. Just a minute, I'll give you unmute permission. You can ask, I can understand your questions. Okay, I'll give one by one unmute permission. You can ask your doubts. Just a minute. Shamira, I given unmute permission. You can unmute it, you can ask your doubt. I couldn't get what you people are asking.
Good morning, ma'am. Hello.
Shamira, are you speaking?
Hello, madam.
Tell me, what is your doubt?
Uh, uh, what if we call class and does it take the argument in the same way as object?
We'll never call the class. We'll invoke only the element inside the class.
We did sample dot message, no, ma'am.
Sample dot message. That's we are just invoking the method called message by using it. We are not going to call a class. We are just invoking the message. By using the class, it acts like a container. We are not going to call a class at all. Only object can be created for it.
Okay, ma'am.
Mm. Do you have any more doubts?
I thought does it take the same argument as in case of object?
Which one? In case of object?
Uh, scroll the screen.
I couldn't get you, Shamir. Can you repeat again?
Once can you scroll the screen, ma'am?
Up or down?
Down, ma'am.
Down. Okay. Fine.
Uh, Here you wrote object one dot message two, no, ma'am.
Yes, I have written it.
It takes as message object one comma two.
Yes. Mm.
If what sample dot message two is called, how it takes the argument? I'm asking, madam.
Sample dot message. Okay. If you are mentioning sample dot message, so for sample dot message, it will take in the same format. So we are going to have only one parameter, that is a direct one. So I'll mention like this. So here internally we know that the first parameter should be the object. When you're going to call a methods of a class by using object, the first parameter will be object internally. When you're going to call the same method by using class name, only the value what you're going to pass will be the first parameter.
Okay, madam, got it.
Okay. Okay, next Pavan has asked some doubt. Just a minute, Pavan, I'll try to unmute it. Pavan, you can unmute, you can speak. Pavan, Harsha, Pavan, I've unmuted you people. Those are having doubt, you can unmute yourself, you can ask your doubt. Okay. Object call will be used. The reason is, Pavan, you can notice that for if at all you want to call a program by using multiple values, multiple set of values. For example, if I want to do addition of these two numbers, I want to do for these two pairs, 2, 3, 4, 5, for multiple pairs. So in those cases, I can use it. This is the example you can take it. For a class, I can have multiple brands, right? So in those cases, I can make use of multiple object. If at all you're having some class called banking, I can have customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. I can't able to say that in a customer 1 itself, I'll be accessing all the customer information. That is not wise, sir. So you should have multiple objects there in those cases. Okay, is it clear, Pavan? Why is that we'll be going with object? All your implementation will be only by using object. It will not be by using class name. Just for your understanding, I told you for class name. That is also possible. So when they give this one, you should not say that is a error. Okay, what is that, Arsha? I couldn't get. Good. We can obtain this by using normal method, then why class and object. So we didn't go ahead with this particular encapsulation abstraction polymorphism concept, right? So once we discuss about this concept, you people will be clear why is this class and object required. Just now I shown you the generic program, how to write program by using class and object. So these are the important features which is not available by using a normal procedure oriented approach. Where if you're writing a normal program, your program will not be a secure one. If at all you want the program to be a secure one. Right now, what you're speaking, all those things are the real world application, guys. Banking, just we are speaking about the concept where banking application and all the other application has been built by using this OOPS concept. Only the language is varying. Apart from this, the concept is same. So for the security reason, all those things, they'll be building the program only by using class and object. Okay, I'll tell you when you're seeing with the concept one by one, you'll be clear. Just you people have a practice of declaring a class and create an object for it and try to execute this one. We'll discuss about it by evening. Shall we wind up the class?